to St. Francis TV. My name is Deb Royals-Mazurk, and I am a proud member of St. Francis of Assisi Catholic Church, and I have some very special guests today. But before I introduce those guests, I also have Father Jairo here. Father Jairo is going to be interviewing, sharing some discussion about immigration and what it means to work toward a wider we. So my special guests, I'm going to completely turn it over to you. These are students from the Franciscan School. They're going to introduce themselves, and then they are going to have a wonderful conversation about immigration, fair immigration reform, and Father Jairo's experiences. So I'll turn it over to you first, Kristen.
My name's Kristen, and I'm in 7th grade, and this is really important to me because both my parents are immigrants from Vietnam.
My name is Maria Jose, and I'm in 7th grade. This is important to me also because my parents immigrated, but from South America.
And they have some really special, important questions and conversation to have with Father Jairo. So go right ahead and begin. Who's going to start us off?
Okay, I'll start.
Okay.
So my first question is, how old were you when you arrived in the U.S.?
Okay, I was 23 years old, yeah.
Okay. Did you move with your family, or was it just you?
It was just me. My parents and my siblings still live in South America. I am from Colombia, and so they live there, but it was just me.
So what did you take along with you?
I took along with me my dreams and a small suitcase, not much. I took a couple of photographs, and that was very important to me because it was a way to keep connected with my family and to just have them and look at them.
Did you want to immigrate?
At first, I have to be honest, I never thought about immigrating to the United States. It never crossed my mind. Later, after I finished some studies in Colombia, I thought about learning English, and that's why I came here, and the opportunity kind of was given to me.
So what was the thing you missed most after you immigrated?
I will definitely say that it is my family and my friends. I miss them every single day, yeah.
How did you keep in contact with your family and your friends back home?
That's a fun thing to ask. I talk to them almost every day, and I use my phone. I use 2 apps. I use FaceTime and also WhatsApp. And those apps allow me to have video calls with them and also to share pictures and voice messages. But that's the primary way in which we keep in contact with each other, yeah.
What is one thing you were looking forward to when you immigrated?
I wanted to see how beautiful and wide the world is, and to get to know more people. When I was living in Colombia, I just knew Colombians, and I knew that there were more people around, and I got the chance to have friends from Asia, Europe, Africa, and other countries in the American continent when I was studying English. So I was super fan, and I really wanted to know more people.
So what were some challenges you faced when you...
The first challenge that I faced was the language, the language barrier. I didn't know much English when I came here, and so communicating was kind of difficult, and I have to say sometimes very frustrating, because I wanted to say something, but then I wasn't sure, and my fears will come in, and then I will think that, I don't know, people perhaps will laugh because I could not say the words correctly and properly. So language was kind of a barrier for me, yeah.
And last question, was there someone you already knew in the U.S.?
Yes, and that was very fortunate. I was very fortunate to know some people. I have a good friend. He is a priest in the Diocese of Trenton, New Jersey, and I knew him from Colombia. So when I came to the United States, I knew him. So it was good because I already knew someone I could talk to him, and he has been a great support for me here in the States. So I'm very thankful for his friendship and help.
Would you say that your faith affected your immigration in any way?
Yes, absolutely. When I came here, I had already discerned the priesthood, this call to serve people in this particular vocation. And so when I came here, I came with the purpose of learning English, but also with the purpose of getting involved here in the church in the United States. And being Catholic is a beautiful thing because wherever you go in the world, and there's a Catholic church, you have family, and that's awesome. Because as Catholics, we welcome all those around us, but Catholics have a special place in our heart. So faith certainly plays a very, very important role. I entrusted myself to God, and I said, God, I don't know where you want me to go and what your plans are for me in the future, but whatever those plans are, I know that you love me and that you will lead me in your ways. And he has blessed me so far, yes, and will continue to do so.
What made you decide to immigrate in the first place and not be a priest in Colombia?
That's a very important and a good question. I always wanted to learn English. And in order to do so, although I had classes in Colombia, in elementary and high school, it was not enough. And I knew some grammar, I knew some words, I knew some phrases, but I really wanted to learn English, which has been a true blessing for me. The idea that I could communicate with someone else in a different language and understand them, it just opened my mind and my horizons, and I wanted to do that. And I knew that in order to do that, I needed to really immerse myself into their culture. And so first I thought of England as a place that I could go, the United Kingdom, and to learn English there. But the fact that I knew this friend, Father Fernando, here in the States, kind of helped me choose this place because I already knew someone.
What were some exciting or memorable times during your process?
The whole process of going to get my passport. I've never left the country at that point. This was kind of my first time. So getting my passport and going through the whole visa application was very exciting for me, and will be those are good memories. Saying goodbye, although it was very sad, we cried a lot, and it was a very, emotional moment for me, saying goodbye to my family and my friends. Even though that was a bit emotional and we cried, those are beautiful memories for me as well. Yeah.
That's great. Was there anything in particular that you were looking forward to here?
To give my life, I will say, to the Lord in this country, and to repay the beautiful things that I've been given and received when I came here. I have to say this, and I've never encountered any hostility towards my person, or I've always encountered beautiful and welcoming people everywhere I've been. So when I came here, I came to Delaware. Okay, that was the first place I was, and then I moved to New Jersey, then joined the diocese, and I've been in Pennsylvania. But everywhere I've been, I've always encountered beautiful people, especially in the church. Wherever I was always connected to the Catholic Church, to the local Catholic Church, and I was involved. And they welcomed me, and I will say they're angels because they really made me feel welcome and appreciated. So yeah, I have to say that. Yeah.
Last question. What's your sources for your homilies? Because they're really relatable.
Okay, yeah, I think that's good. Good to hear. I think I like always to go back and see my life and my family's life and find there important things that I could share with people, because those are relatable, even though we don't come from the same, backgrounds, but we have the experiences of, having family, enjoying vacations, and things like that. So I think for me, my own experience, although in doing that, I'm not putting myself in any way in the center. The center is always Christ, right? But it's a way for me to share, this has been my experience, what has been your experience? And hopefully, the people that listen to those homilies and listen to the gospel could also make the connections and see how God is working in their lives and in the lives of their family and friends, and in the lives of the community. So yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much. So I have a couple of questions and a comment. So I heard a wide and beautiful earth. And then I love this last question about making the homilies relatable, which I also think is completely tethered to this conversation around immigration, is that we are all human beings. So that in and of itself as God's children, we're all so related to one another.
Mm-hmm.
And the beauty of understanding that breakfast happens in your country like it happens in my country, and making us remember that, I am grateful for. Thank you. Were there moments when you were afraid?
There were moments in which I felt lost, especially at the beginning. For example, I could tell you and share with you, we celebrate New Year in a very big way back home, okay? And so my first New Year here in the States, it was very, I was very alone. I was at this family's home, but they don't usually throw a big party. So we had dinner that day and we said Happy New Year, but everybody went to bed and I was in my room all by myself, waiting for it to hit 12. And then I took the phone and I called my family and I could hear the joy and the music and the party and everybody was just wishing everybody Happy New Year. And I remember I was just crying because I felt just kind of there alone, away from my family. So there were moments like that, especially at the beginning. But again, people around me, as I got to know more people in the parishes and I made friends, they made sure that I felt welcome, that I felt that I had a family that I belonged to, a spiritual family. And I never felt that way, like that again. But there have been moments like that. Also, I would say, in the personal discernment of a vocation, which in my case it was to become a priest, right? There are moments in which you question, is this really what God is calling me to do, or should I just do something else with my life? And sometimes those moments could, make you feel a little uncomfortable, and then you may feel a little lost sometimes. But God again is showing us, the path. And if we're open, He will lead us. Yeah, if we allow Him to lead us, He will lead us.
So now kind of a fun thing,
Okay.
if you want. Do you have anything you'd like to ask the girls?
Yes. So, Maria Jose, what are you talking to your parents about their life back in South America? Have you learned what was their life like? How was that before they came here? Have you learned?
Yeah, I have learned a little bit. Like every summer I go back to visit them.
Awesome.
And since COVID, I haven't been able to visit them, but we still get together through like Zoom or WhatsApp too. And sometimes my parents, especially at dinner, they tell me stories about how their life was in South America.
Thank you for sharing that with me. And there are any traditions that your family share that we don't have here, that you would like to experience someday as part of your background?
Probably just a much more family-centered New Year's, and there's a big celebration, and there's lots of gifts to each other.
Okay.
So another question that I would love to put out there to both ladies is, would you share a little bit about your family's immigration into the United States? And did that immigration affect your spiritual or your faith journey? And Kristen, I'm going to turn to you first, and then we'll go right to Maria.
Probably better to start here that my dad was an orphan during the Vietnam War, and he flew over here to the States.
Wow.
And then when he grew up with my grandma, he flew back to Vietnam to try and find his father and mother. Then he met my mom there, and then he helped her immigrate here. And then I was born.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that their journey has affected your spiritual life? Or his journey, your father's journey? I know your daddy really well. He's a part of the stewardship committee here at St. Francis, which we're so grateful, and he impacts people with his such wonderful personality and kindness. How did it affect your faith?
It's a hard question.
Yeah.
I don't think it really did, because he was raised in the same religion I was, so it wasn't that much of a difference.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so the same, can you share a little bit about your family's immigration journey? And did that immigration journey impact your spiritual life or your faith?
I'll start with my mom. She lived in Peru with her 5 sisters, and she came here because of a chance to teach. She really loved teaching, and she wanted to have a chance to try it somewhere else, to teach people here more about the Spanish language. So, and to help other parents, other people who were immigrating here. And so she came here to teach. And then my dad, he is from Uruguay. He lived with 2 brothers, and he came here to have a chance to study science and some technology too. And when they came here, they both met in Minnesota, and then they came to Virginia. So I think it affected my spiritual life because of their hard journeys and experiences. I feel like they got closer to God, and then they helped me do it too, because since they lots of experience, they taught me when I was little, and I grew up with that faith.
Wow. Both those stories, like Father Jairo's, are so important and so beautiful. And I think that journeys and the struggles, along with the happiness and the beauty, are always that God calls us. And He's constantly having conversations and available for us. So I am so deeply grateful for that you chose to be here with us today, and that you shared your stories, and for sharing your beautiful story, and for generously sharing yourselves with our whole St. Francis community. Thank you all, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.